That's brilliant, bro. Respect that.
Yeah, man, got to be on the hustle.
Definitely, bro. You can't really work without a routine, you know.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, over quarantine as well, man. Like when over quarantine, the whole sort of I think I was furloughed for like 2 days, and I was just sat there.
Mm.
I was thinking, I can't
What do I do?
deal with being up really late and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write myself a schedule and just live off it. And you know, I kind of just kept them I kind of kept them valuables like going as I went back to work as well.
Yeah,
I just thought it'd be
I
better,
think
man.
I've had the same experience. Kind of like. By the way, can you hear me okay and stuff?
Yeah, I can hear you sound, bro. Yeah,
Brilliant. Like quarantine without a schedule, terrible, terrible. Like
doesn't work, does
I,
it?
I don't have that kind of control, bro. Like I need a schedule. Like I can't. Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise you just wake up whenever you want, and then you're just staying up till stupid o'clock, and it just
Bro,
get.
you don't like you have such low expectations of yourself. Like when you have no schedule, you could do like one thing in the day for like half an hour and you'll be proud of yourself. But if you have a
Yeah,
schedule, like you could be working for 5 hours and you'll stay think, you know what, I could have done more. Like it's good to have like look at your board right now. Like that's so many expectations to have in a day. That's like, it's a different standard that you hold yourself to.
well that's it. Yeah, I mean, literally all it is just I've kind of gone for like a very entrepreneur mindset. I'm just trying to like accomplish as much as I can in a day. To be fair, if I achieve all of these things, I'm still not very satisfied. I'm one of those
I
like
think that's the nature of like a schedule though, isn't it? Kind of
yeah. I mean,
it's natural to
I'm
not
never
feel
ever satisfied. I'm never ever satisfied. I
you
can
have
never.
like
I never settle.
so you've got your daily schedule going. Have you
Hmm.
got like a weekly system or a monthly system that you work to, or is it just the daily one?
I take
Going.
it week by week. To be fair, I mean, what I've
Cool.
got here, what it will be is there'll be 7 boxes going across. I've just forgotten to write them in, but I'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.
7 boxes going across. So then I've got to try and tick them off. Obviously, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and just try and go off that. So I just go week by week mainly.
So I'm trying to read it still, yeah,
Yeah,
week by
yeah.
week.
Is it
And
easy to
so,
read? Yeah.
yeah, it's got a good camera, bro. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, thank you, man.
Clearly, like, so you've got your daily ones. So like I meant in the sense that like when you have like longer term goals.
Yeah.
By the way, you said you were gonna do your recording thing. I don't. I feel
I've
I'm just.
started. I
I'm dragging.
started. I kind of just like started off in this little deep conversation.
Okay,
I was like,
okay.
you know what? I'm gonna add this in.
Just like that. Thanks for letting me know that. No worries. So okay, so I guess we're not. Okay, fine. So we're good. Sorry, I was saying, bro.
Yeah.
You were talking about your daily routine.
Yeah.
And I was saying, how do you like structure your long term goals then? Because like you can't really fit that into a daily thing. Every like just as a tick box, you know.
Yeah. This is
Like,
it.
is it journaling? Is it just like making notes? How does that work? Because I mean,
So
that's what I really struggle on.
yeah. So what I tend to do, I give myself like a little session. So it'd be like a half-hour session at the end of each day where I reflect on my day, and I write down my long-term goals every single day in a book.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a book just on top of my bookshelf, and it's literally I just literally write my goals every single day. Because as much as I got this, if you write down your goals every single day, it will become subconscious in your mind. You'll just think about it without even like thinking too hard about it. Like them goals will just be tuned into your head. So,
Definitely.
I mean, I've got a few long-term goals. I mean, like for example, Italian's on there, but obviously that's something you can
Hey,
do day by day. But
yeah.
I'm
So where did
looking.
that come from?
What's that, bro?
Where did that come from then?
Um,
Italian.
I don't, Italian is in itself. I don't know. But I've had this kind of like inspiration since the start of the year, or end of 2019, to sort of when I'm by 40, I'd say I want to be able to speak at least 4 languages. And
Yeah.
the one thing I realised at school was I did Spanish, and yeah, I failed that Spanish GCSE. But I never, when I was kind of like too young to sort of treasure, the actual importance of having a language and actually
So much. Yeah.
take advantage of it. When I'm like the 15/16 year old, I mean, the guy you knew at school compared to the guy right now is two completely different people. Like the way I looked at life back then to now, completely different. But yeah, I thought I'd pick it up, and then after, I want to go into Spanish, but I wanted to start off with something fresh. Then I want to go into Spanish. I want to go into Mandarin after that, and then I want to go into French. So I've got kind of like a bit of a big European kind of language barrier, and then I've also got Mandarin, which would be very good. For example, if I go traveling or whatever.
Tom, you mentioned that kind of you're very different to in school, but like even in school, I think maybe you're a bit harsh on yourself. Like I always kind of noticed like that you were very much someone like you were very ready to learn.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying this because of like just for the sake of
no.
Like genuinely, like whenever someone was like saying something of value, you'd actually like, you know, you'd be really interested, not just like for the show of it. Like I noticed that from kind of something I kind of knew about you anyway. So kind of hats off to you.
It's always been there.
It takes a kind of humility, you know.
Yeah, I mean it's always been there, but I think it's kind of, as I've kind of evolved and now turned into a man, I think that's kind of solidated into me. You know, you're right, like I would have like a positive attitude at times, but I wouldn't have it at all the time where I would need it to progress. So I was kind of like on a bit of a teetering edge with that one. Like I'd learn sometimes and sometimes I wouldn't. But you know, it's mad actually, because out of all the school friends I had, I remember, you know, being with you. You were like the guy that taught me the most values. I remember, it's mad because you know what it is with we were in a library and you were going through a maths paper with me because I was really struggling with maths at this time. And I know this value was, you wouldn't think it'd be that deep, I don't think, but this value I take with me to this day. So you were showing me a question that I just didn't have a clue with, and you were saying to me, look, the only way you will ever fully learn this or anything is by knowing why. So, for example, with that maths question, it was something to do with like triangles. You were like,
I think I remember that.
you were like, you've got to know why you've got to do that sum there and do that there to actually understand what you're doing. And it's only like recently I kind of that kind of saying came back to me, because it kind of reflects a lot on my job right now. Like I have to think before I do, especially with electrics. Sure. But like
different situation every day.
Exactly. So then when I'm in different situations, I've got to think, how am I going to do it? And then I've also got to think, why am I going to do that? And is that going to work? And then if I think why and it doesn't add up, then I know it's not going to be right. Whereas if I do know why and it's you know, convincing, then I know for a fact that it's gonna, you know, it's gonna work in the end. If you know what I'm saying.
It's amazing that we kind of know this at our age, but it's weird that this isn't something that's taught at GCSE. Like it's weird that like someone saying that at GCSE would be like abnormal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's weird. It's weird that we're taught in a way that we just output without even thinking.
Yeah, literally.
Why? that's really strange. Yeah.
I mean,
on reflection, I didn't realise it until now.
Yeah, and I mean the thing is, I think since school, I think I learned bits and bobs with like, you know, subjects and stuff, but I learned a lot of things through just other people's knowledge. I never really like with all the stuff I learned at school, I don't really take that with me today because
just a haze, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's it. With like maths and with English language and science and stuff, I don't use that at all. But it's more what people have said to me and very like interesting and very deep quotes that people have said to me that I have remembered, and that's what I live by to this day. And it's like what you said about you've got to know why something is something to actually understand it. It's like little things, little quotes like that. They planted a seed in my head, and then they've kind of just grown through as I've come into this new decade. But on a real though, coming back to you, how is uni? I know like coronavirus and that, but like before, how was uni?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I haven't been on campus since late January.
Really?
Oh wow. So I'm on a 4-year course, and the second and third year are supposed to be half like. So we have 2 semesters, yeah. Like so, October to January, and then February to June. And the second semester for year 2 and 3 is supposed to be a placement. So in January, we were all kind of off trying to get a job, and then this happened. So we've kind of the majority of the years have just been stuck at home for kind of half a year. So I mean, as far as uni's concerned, like it's almost like a distant memory to us now. But uni's been good. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to talk about in terms of university. Yeah, but yeah, in general, great. Yeah. It's a very expensive good though, but still.
Yeah, because you go to uni in Bath, don't you? Like, what is it? What is uni life like? Because I haven't actually been to uni. I've never been to a university, so I have no clue in anything like this.
Bro, it's kind of the same thing. The same thing that you mentioned. It's kind of flipped, but the same for me in that kind of I don't know what non-uni life is like.
Yeah, right.
Like you, for example, like you've been so independent from kind of day one, right? I mean, like you graduated from your GCSEs and stuff, and then you jumped into an apprenticeship, didn't you?
Yeah.
And since then, you've just been like kind of independent. So like I wouldn't know how that works because like I went straight to A levels and then went straight to uni, so it's a completely different. So like, I don't know how to compare it. But in terms of uni itself, bro, yeah, like the independence is there, but I don't know how much that means to you because like you've had the same experience, you know. But yeah, I mean, in terms of like, is there anything specific or?
I was just like the lifestyle in uni. What is it like?
Yeah.
Like what's the difference between uni and school, for example?
That's a good question. Uni, number one, like people are only at uni because they want to do well.
That's very true, actually.
And it's something that, and it's something that I kind of noticed at A level too, but not really in the same way. Like uni, like people, you'll have jokers and stuff. I'll probably be one of them. And you'll have people who like kind of are lazy, and I'm one of them too. But at the end of the day, like if people aren't doing well, then they're personally gonna like be upset. Excuse me. At school, people couldn't care less. I know. I mean, I know you remember in GCSEs, even though we went to a really good school, right? Yeah. Like we had kind of people. I think someone picked up a call in one of the exams as a joke or something. Like they couldn't care less about. Do you know what I mean? But uni, it's like everyone cares, and because of that, it's a different vibe. So people care about why they're there, but on the flip side, as opposed to school, nobody cares about anyone. Like nobody cares about. There's no peer pressure. There's no kind of like that kind of stuff, you know,
there
like
for you kind of thing.
Exactly, and you become very independent in that sense because, like, straight up, like there's a weirdos at uni, man. Like there's such, and because like as a student you see so many weird people. Yeah. Like you stop caring about like other people. It's like you get all types, and because of that, you're like, okay, oh, what people can do what they want. Like, there's no more kind of expectation of, you know, and yeah, I mean that's a good thing, isn't it?
Definitely,
I guess,
because it helps you stop judging people and stuff like that as well.
Exactly.
I know, like, because on social media, the way uni is portrayed is very, very. It's like all parties, all this. Is it really that?
Again, so I think Bath might be a bit different because, I mean, I'm not really one to party, as you probably know. But as far as I'm aware, Bath isn't like, it's not that kind of city. Bristol is quite close by. But compared to other, like, it's not like Leeds or something, right?
Yeah.
It's not. I don't know. Like I wouldn't know, but like it's not London, definitely. But yeah, in that sense, again, like, there's so many types at uni, like so many different people, and I think it's just that the people who go to university to party are kind of the loudest bunch online, and so you kind of get that stereotype, you know. But yeah, I mean, people go to uni to have a good time, and that's completely fine, isn't it? Like, that's a big reason why a lot of people. Exactly, yeah. And I mean, people are young, and they can do, you know, like it's a good 3 years of that. Fair enough, isn't it?
Exactly. You kind of just make it how you want to make it, don't you? Really.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely.
From school, then, because I've calculated this now. It's almost been 4 years since It's July. So yeah, it has been 4 years since we left school. I mean, it's coming up to 4 years since I moved from Solihull.
No way.
How far have you come since? What have you achieved since then?
Like in terms of personality-wise,
Everything, man.
Miles, completely different person, I think. And of course, I mean, you should be a different person after 4 years, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
if you're the same person, it's a bit awkward. In terms of like, I think one big thing I learned starting at A level and then going into uni was that like, how to like being more individual and being kind of just proud of the fact that like you're individual and you're kind of like you're someone with like, you know, like unique interests, and that is something that's like it's like it's your duty to pursue what you're like uniquely good at. So for example, you are very good at this media thing, right? And so you've got like a podcast channel, you've got a YouTube channel, and you're doing bits, you know, hats off to you. And you know, this is reflected in you a lot as well, like
Really?
impressively. Like you don't like you don't care what people think, do you?
No,
Like
not at all, no.
you just it's only like your interest, and I think that's what everyone learns like after they leave school.
They do, yeah.
Because school's such a strange like psychological environment that like you're kind of conditioned to like everything you do is like 10 people are there with you, and it's like as soon as you leave school, it's like, wait a second, like even my parents have gone to work, like I'm the only person here, like nobody, you know. It's the opposite. So I think that's the one thing that everyone learns. What about you?
Definitely just what you said. I mean, in reality, I think you knew that the way I was at school, like I used to care what everybody said. I used to get angry at what people would, like if people said something about me, I'd get really, really frustrated. But
I think I was probably the perpetrator of those things once or twice. Yeah.
But like, you know what it is? I mean, I left school and, you know, I've done my thing and, you know, moved house and stuff. So I was around completely different people, you know, around people who I would say now are friends for life as well. And, you know, that kind of, when I sort of branched around new people as well, it kind of helped me, you know, move forward because I'll be, you know, my friendship group, I've got a couple who are like my age and then I've got a couple who are like 21, 22. So having like different age groups and seeing where they've got to in life, their wisdom can also drag me up as well, which is very helpful. But like you said, yeah, with the YouTube channel, like I don't care what people think. I mean, this is exactly why I started a podcast because, you know, I wanted to sort of be able to communicate with more people and be able to hear other people's stories and incite people as well because, you know, as much as I could have, you know, a world like Anthony Joshua on here or something like that, which would be awesome, but I thought it's something insightful as well because, you know, having, for example, yourself with who you are as a person and, you know, you being able to showcase what uni's like and things like that, you know, it's just insightful for people. It doesn't always have to be famous people. It can be people that can be insightful. It's like last time I had my friend called Donovan, who's he does amateur level fighting and kickboxing. I brought him on just to be able to incite that. It's just doing that. But in regards to people not caring about, in regards to me not caring about what people think, you know, that's why I started it because people, you know, said to me, "Oh, nah, maybe you shouldn't start a podcast," stuff like that. But I said to them, "Look, people enjoy it or not, you know, take it or leave it. That's not going to change my intention. That's not going to change my drive behind the podcast." And it's like YouTube. If people enjoy the content, happy days. If they don't enjoy it, cool. I'm still going to be there uploading.
Yeah.
If you have that attitude, then, you know, you're definitely in a much better place than maybe even someone with 1 million subscribers but cares about every single dislike they get on a video.
And they don't enjoy making a single video.
Exactly. And to be fair, I have had a few dislikes on podcasts, but I haven't, you know, sucked up about it or anything like that. It's cool. It is what it is. You know, if you don't enjoy it, you don't enjoy it. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. And, you know, whatever opinion someone has on me, whether it's a positive or negative opinion about me, I respect it. You know, that's just how you got to be. You just got to, you know, just accept that people aren't always going to think the best of you. Even if you are a very good person, people will still see you as a bad person. It's just the way life works. You know, you're always going to have negative people. So the way forward is just to ignore it, and that's exactly what I did. And I think realistically as well, the only other thing I really sort of changed about myself after school, I mean, I'd probably say it's the fitness. I'd say that's definitely one of the big things, I'd say, because I remember at school, I actually weighed myself and that, and I was overweight. And then, you know, that's when I started hitting the gym when I moved house, and, you know, became who I am today. And, you know, as much as people say to me, oh, I bet you regret, you know, being overweight at school and stuff, I was like, no, because if I didn't have that there, then I wouldn't be who I am today. So that's the way I look at it. But I'd say they're the two biggest things. I mean, yeah, there's other tweaks and changes around them 4 years, but I'd say they're like the two biggest ones for sure.
Yeah.
But okay, so we'll go into more detail about your uni. So for those who don't know, talk about your uni course and talk about how long it is, and just talk about, you know, your intention behind doing the course you've chosen.
So I'm studying architecture, undergrad, of course, at the moment, which is a 4-year course, I think we mentioned. But to be an architect in the UK, you have to do a 7-year kind of a journey. Like I'm sure you're doing a similar thing with your apprenticeship, right?
Yeah.
Have you completed it?
I haven't yet, no.
You haven't? Okay, sure. So that kind of route. So the route for me, the first 4 years of that 7 years is the undergrad. And after that, I have to do a 2 years master's. I can't. I have to. Like, it's my choice. I'm doing a 2 years master's, and the final piece in that puzzle is a 1-year diploma, God willing. So that's 7 years, and yet at the end of that, I mean that's the shortest that you can do. And at the end of that, you can legally call yourself an architect in the UK. Right. So, I mean, the thing with me going to uni is just solely because of the career I wanted. I wanted to be an architect. That's it. And like, I think I was speaking to, we were speaking to a couple of my siblings about this the other day. Like, uni these days, I'm sure you'll agree. Like, a lot of people get degrees for like no reason at all. Like, and like, I'm very much against that. Like I think I probably have a view that's a bit mad. Like, it's a bit too far the other way. But like, I think like you shouldn't really do a degree unless like you're going towards it like you definitely know what you want to do with it. Because like it's like, forget the money, like that's obvious. But like, it's 3 years of your life that, like, say you're going to uni to do like cinematography, which is like a cliche example, or videography. Yeah, in 3 years you spent what, 26k, more perhaps. And you wasted, that's a harsh word. You spent 3 years of your life when you could have been doing YouTube for 3 years, making 3 years worth of mistakes. Yeah. You could have been messing up for 3 years and still not spent that amount of money. And at the end of the 3 years, you would have been in a much better position than you were at the end of uni. Like, so, I mean, again, like, degrees are great, right? But, I mean, in today's world, there's a lot you could do, like, without, like, with your time. Like, this isn't the world of like, you know, if I don't get a degree, I'm gonna flop and everything. Like, there's a lot you can do. It's just you have to be a bit more creative with the way you think.
Definitely.
And then I'm a hypocrite, but like, the reason I'm going to uni, of course, is because the only way I can be an architect is to do a degree.
To do a uni course, yeah. And it's interesting that you did say videography, actually, because one of my best friends, Elliot, he's a videographer himself, and he didn't go to university. Funnily enough, he was doing electrics with me on my first year at college, and some reason why the teachers didn't really like him or whatever, and they didn't let him on to the second year, so he took it on full time because it was just a hobby. So he took it on, and, you know, went from a hobby to being something he actually enjoyed doing. Like, he'd done YouTube before and stuff, and he managed to get his name about, and he now films for a YouTuber who does like scooters and that, who has over 1 million subscribers. And he goes on tour with him. He does all this. And, you know, I look at him as a prime example, because I look at people who go to uni and do videography, and I look at him, and even though they've got a uni degree or whatever, he's actually got a better chance of landing bigger jobs or whatever, because he's actually got quite a big portfolio, you know, filming for these YouTubers who are quite big, who have got some serious views behind them. whereas the other person's just been to uni and learned how to use a camera or whatever for 3 years and just learned bits and bobs.
Exactly.
You know, he's
Now that you
actually
mention
done it
that, bro,
hands-on, yeah.
I think I have to probably caveat what I just said. Like, now that you mentioned that, like, what I meant was, like, only really for like creative degrees generally. Like, I think it's completely fair that, like, say you're doing STEM, like science or like technology, then like it makes sense. Like, if you have a degree, you'll probably like do well in the industry. Like, that's how those industries work.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of the arts, the cultural, the kind of the creative industries, like, there's a lot you can do. Like, you don't have to put yourself through your 3 years of uni. Like, believe in yourself. Like, there's a lot you can do.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So what I meant was, like, just for some degrees,
Yeah.
I guess. But then again, like, even if you want to do those degrees, and fair enough, hats off to you. The degrees are what you make of them anyway. So
But it's like we said
don't
before,
listen to
it's like each
someone
to
on the
their
podcast.
own.
Yeah,
It is literally that. But it's like you said, like, for you, you know, you depend on university to, you know, supply that degree because you're not going to get it anywhere else.
Yeah.
And this is another reason why I took an apprenticeship over going on to university and going on to A-levels, because the way I looked at it, I knew I never wanted to, you know, go to university. I knew that wasn't my thing. I knew that I wanted to do something within a building site. And
Practical.
for some reason, around year 10, I was like considering doing A-levels, but I took a lot of time and thought into it, and I thought, well, there's no point doing A-levels because I'm only going to do A-levels if I'm going to go to university. And if I've got no intention of going to university and I want an apprenticeship, then why on earth would I want to go and do physics in A-level to do electrics, where I could literally get the GCSEs I need, go to college and do a direct course for electrics and get an apprenticeship straight after.
Get paid like half the time.
Exactly. And, you know, I could have gone on to do electrical engineering and stuff like that in university, but that wasn't my intention. My intention was to do what I'm doing now. So it's interesting you say that, because, you know, for things like that, you know, you're better off doing an apprenticeship and going to college and stuff like that. But when you look at, when you've got every intention to do university because you've actually got, you know, there's something in university you want to achieve degree-wise or whatever.
That's the key point, yeah.
Then yeah, that's when you go on to do A-levels, and that's when you progress onto the university you want to do, with the course you want to do, and things like that. And it is interesting because I've seen so many people go on to do A-levels and, you know, go to university, drop out, or even just do A-levels and not want to go to university, and then end up, you know, doing a job they don't want to do. And, you know, fair enough, they're earning money, you know, at least they're doing something, you know, respect to them, whatever decision they make. But at the same time, you kind of think, well, you were doing A-levels to go to university and you don't want to go, you know, you could have spent that 2 years a bit wiser and gone to college, or maybe done something else with your life. Maybe if you wanted to go on and, you know, do electrics or plumbing or something in the beauty industry or anything like that, then you would have been better off going to college. It is interesting.
Two things very quickly, bro. The first thing, the way you worded it is so important. Like you said, if you don't have something in mind with university, because like what I mean to say is, if your purpose for going to university is you think it will give you a good chance at a job, then fair enough. But your thinking should reflect that. Like the way you look at your degree, it should be a practical step. But like the degree, if we look at the degree, like the undergrad degree, like historically, like the degree in itself is a really good thing, right? Like in the last 10 years, the degree is like the undergrad has become pretty much useless generally, because I mean, we're reaching the point where more people have degrees than not, like more kind of new cohorts have degrees than not, right? But like in a vacuum, a degree is still a good thing, because like those 3 years at uni, they teach you a lot. Yeah. So if your purpose, you said like what your purpose is, right? Like if your purpose is not to get a job, it's just to go to uni for a degree and to learn like those skills that come with a degree, then respect. Like the job is irrelevant then.
Yeah.
So the way you word it is really important. Like, what is your purpose? Like if the purpose is a job, then maybe think about it. But if the purpose is just the degree, then fine. And the second point, you mentioned like a lot of people get the degree just for the sake of it. It's because I think like going to university is like a safety net.
Yeah.
isn't it? It's like it's a low risk, low return option in most cases, whereas like being completely flexible on day one after A levels or GCSEs is a high risk option,
Yeah.
and it's terrifying, right? The, and like people like uncomfortable with that. So yeah, it makes sense. Like it's a good like it's like mentally it's quite a comfortable option, you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, then people do well actually from degrees. So fair enough to them.
Yeah, exactly. All hats off to them. And it's like I said, it's like we said at the start. Whatever decision you were to go on to do, you know, hats off. Whether you want to take an apprenticeship, whether you want to do uni, you know, the world's your oyster. You know, if there's something you want to do as a job, then go for it, because I think this is a trap a lot of people fall down. A lot of people do fall down the trap of, you know, throwing themselves down an alley where they don't want to go down it, and they start worrying about, oh God, can I still, you know, go to uni and stuff. It's never too late to change your mind. You know, it's never too late to, if you decide you want to go to uni or something, to go to sixth form or get the qualifications you need to go to the uni to get that degree. But it is kind of interesting, because it's almost as if you are going to university, it's when you have your options for your GCSEs, it's actually interesting how crucial it can be for them, because you look at the options we had graphic design and stuff like that, which is very, very exactly. It's very important to have that kind of GCSE behind you, especially when you want to progress on to doing architecture one day. You know, if you're go, it's crazy, because I suppose, does the pressure mount higher on you if you know that you want to do that in the future, or what kind of stance is that?
Again, like I wouldn't want to speak comparing like it to people who don't necessarily know specifically what they want to do at school, because I haven't been in that position, right? I mean, I'm really lucky in that, like, I've pretty much known I wanted to be an architect for a good time, for a while. I mean, that's a cliche kind of cringy answer, but it's true, right? So there's definitely a pressure in that, like, your goal is very specific, and you know the smaller a dartboard is, the more likely you're to miss, right?
Yeah.
But I can imagine, I'm sure there's pressure in that, you know, when you can't see the dartboard, there's a lot more pressure, you know, and it's a shame that we have a race. It's a shame that the system is a race, like that you have to, at this age you're going to graduate, at this age you're going to go to uni. Like, my neighbor is a head teacher at grammar school, and like we always, of course, speak about education and stuff, and he always drilled into me this idea that like what's the rush, like what's the race, like if you I think so before university I was considering a gap year and stuff like that, and he was like, yeah, why not, like, etc., etc. I didn't in the end, but like he was very chill about like the timeline of kind of early life, and we have this idea that like everything's has to be perfect by this time, but like, who told you that? Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, are you going to expire or something? You know. So I think a lot of this pressure is kind of imposed. But then again, like it takes a position of privilege for me to say that anyway. So
yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Which is completely fair. Like, but yeah.
Yeah. In regards to like the big goal, then, so you want to be an architect. How far are you away from that now? Because you've been to uni. I'll take
2 years.
2 years.
Yeah. Just finishing my second year. Yeah.
So after you've done that 7th year, if you like, will you just be able to just land a job there and then, and be able to just go from that?
That's the plan. Yeah, fingers crossed. So actually, you know, within the 7 years, excuse me, I think this coffee's not been good right now. Within the 7 years, I have to, as part of the 7 years, I have to do 2 years of work So it's called being an architectural assistant. So in this 4-year undergrad, so we mentioned the placement I do, right? So that'll make up 1 year of the 2 years within the first 4, and then the 3 years that are left, I have to do 1 year of work within those 3 years, right? So most people, what they do is in the last year, they do a full-time diploma, which is like a degree that's kind of a master's, but not really. And they do that in the evenings and they work in the day. So they're doing like a full-time job and a full-time degree at the same time. I'm not sure it's a full-time degree, but that's what a lot of people do. But what's more and more popular recently is just like taking a much slower route, like, realizing that there's no rush. And so what a lot of people do is they complete the 6 years, the masters, and then after the 6 years, like, you're in a good position to get a good job as an assistant, right? So they just work for like a few years, and then when they want, they just do the part 3. So that 7 years becomes like 10.
Yeah.
And again, it's like completely fair. Like, what's the rush?
Yeah.
So I might do that. I might stretch it out a little bit because I'll be working anyway, God willing. Or, yeah, you're right. At the end of the 7 years, the plan is just, to get a job as an architect.
It is interesting because I suppose them last 2 years you sort of spend kind of watching over someone else who is actually an architect. So I suppose you're watching over them, seeing what they actually do and how they do certain things. Because I notice even at the dentist, I mean, the times I've been to the dentist, there's always been like a uni student who's been an assistant, got there in the end, like watching over.
Yeah.
It is actually very important because, I mean, even in the apprenticeship side of things, with us guys, I mean, yeah, we do a bit of like hands-on work as well, but we spend a lot of time watching over like a qualified electrician doing his work. So you get to sort of learn, why he's doing certain things and, how to do certain things. It is very, very important to actually have that, even if it's not quite hands-on, it's as close to hands-on as you can get, just looking over. And the good thing is that sometimes they do turn around and let you actually hand the reins over to you a little bit and actually get that opportunity. And I take it that's kind of what might happen with you with your degree as well, watching over someone, but they might hand the reins over to you and give you that little bit of experience. But it's like we say, like, it's how you cherish that and how you use it, whether you spend that 2 years kind of looking over and not really being interested, or actually looking over them, being interested, and taking that opportunity that they might let you just have the reins for a day or whatever by the hands, and giving everything. And it's the same with us guys. I mean, with me, it's like I'll be watching over the electrician. As soon as he gives me the opportunity to do something for myself, I love to grab at the opportunity and actually, do it to the best I can. But there's people as well in this apprenticeship who don't do that. So they don't really listen, they're always on the phones and stuff like that. And then when they get given the opportunity, they pretty much just never, they don't know how to do it and end up doing it wrong, and then they get bad reviews. It is surprising because it's like even people like, coming into, mid-20s and late 20s, and they're doing this kind of thing, just going on the phones and having no interest. But if you're kind of dedicating yourself to that job title, you've got to have that interest there. You've got to have that focus and the will to learn. Because there's no point doing it otherwise, is there?
You're torturing yourself, aren't you? Like you're like, forget anything else, like money or like finance or life. Like, you're torturing yourself. Like, why are you hurting yourself? Like, why are you spending so much time doing something that you're not into? Like,
yeah,
I know that, again, like, that's quite a privileged thing to say, but like, to the extent that you have control over it, like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
Like, can you control it? Yes. Then why aren't you changing it?
Yeah.
Like, I think that applies in every situation, right?
Exactly. We all have a life. We all have the ability to follow the lead of what we want to do.
Exactly.
If I thought to myself, I don't want to do electrics next week, and I had a really strong feeling about it, I could easily say, look, I'm going to hand in my notice, and I could easily, you know, either go back to college or find a company that might send me to college to do another trade or whatever I wanted to do, or even do A-levels or something like that. And you know, if it was something I wanted to do in university, I could still do that. And it links very well to what we were saying earlier about how it is never too late. You know, you always have that chance. You know, what is the rush? And I think people kind of get a bit too settled into their job to sort of go, people, I see so many low morales, and it's kind of like you look at them as if to go, well, if you don't want to be here, then why are you? And then they're like, oh, it's the money. And it's like,
bro, like even
you're not happy,
even if it is the case that like and you might have a case where someone like really needs that job, right? Yeah. But really needs that degree, but hates that degree, like respect that you're there and you've turned up, but you're there, right? It's not like you've had like you're there now. Yeah. Like, what do you make of it? Like, fine, you hate it. Like, okay, maybe, you know, God willing, you can change that in the future. But today, you're here. Like, what are you going to do about it?
Exactly.
You know? Like, it's today. Like, forget it. You still have to make it through the day, right?
Exactly. And it is hard because I remember to find my apprenticeship, I was looking 2 years before I got this job. I applied the year before. I got an interview and it didn't go any further, so I went back, done my second year of college, done my driving test and stuff like that. And I applied to, it was up to almost 60 companies. I sent my CV everywhere. And only 2 or 3 companies got back. The one was the one that I got the interview with the year before, so obviously they knew who I was, so they were very willing to give me a job very quickly. And then the others kind of got in touch after I'd signed the contract, and I was like, look, I'm sorry, but I've been offered a contract here. But it was like, even on that first year, like I applied to all 60 of them companies before, got nothing back apart from one interview, got absolutely nothing, and it was so frustrating. And then when I finally got that opportunity, I joined a company, and I saw all these people with such low work ethics and people who didn't want to put any effort. And it's not even just my company; it's like other places as well. It happens in every single workplace. This is one thing you got to remember: every single workplace, you never get a workplace where everybody's got high work ethic and high work morale. And I thought to myself, like, this is why I struggle to get a job, because people like you who don't want to do this or have no motivation or no heart for this job are sat in a job that I could have, who wants to do it and wants to learn, but instead you're sat in it, you don't want to do it, why are you here? And it is frustrating when you see stuff like that, because you go through the tunnel and you see the people on the other side and you think, I really had to wait 2 years to get this job because of you. And it's like, come on. And it is really, it is quite an annoying kind of thing to experience. But at the same time, I just look at it now and it's kind of like, cool, roll with the punches. Whatever happens. Look, I'm here now. You know, I've got the job I wanted. You know, let's just make the best of it. Don't care what he's doing. Don't care about him moaning over there. Just crack on. Doesn't matter. But
100%.
It's just how you grab the opportunity and how you take it. That's kind of like the best words to take from it, if anything. Okay, so I was also going to say, this man is the designer of the thumbnail, not the thumbnail, oh my days, the channel art of this channel art and the main channel art. Do you do that? Do you do that as like a side kind of hobby?
Yeah, bits and bobs. I'm not. One thing that I've kind of reflected on recently is that like I'm not very good at converting hobbies into money. Like I've got a lot of things that I just do on the side, but there's very few that I'll think, oh, you know what, I can you know. So graphic design and this kind of stuff is one thing that like recently I've just been like, you know what, I need to. And we had kind of I think we discussed this at some point, some similar conversation that like just like I think I was like, you know, it's cringy, but like I just because I'm not used to like asking for money for things. But yeah, it is. So graphic design is something that I do on the side like this. Yeah. I can't remember where I was going with it. I think I was going somewhere and then I kind of lost track of what I was talking about.
But it's like I said, man. Like with you, like I weren't gonna, you know, have you, you know, I weren't gonna have you ask for money that was, you know, should have been yours anyway. Like with me, it was kind of like, well, this guy, you know, has put a lot of thought into it. He's done a really good job. And, you know, even before I asked you, you know, I was prepared to, you know, pay for it because I'm not being funny. You know, I ain't into kind of having people do me stuff for free, you know what I mean? Especially when someone's put, you know, time out of their day, you know, that's value in itself. You know, we all have, you know, 24 hours in a day. We're all out there trying to make the most of it. And when I'm, you know, getting someone to, you know, slip back from a part of their 24 hours in their day to help me out, that alone is very priceless. So if someone's going to be willing to take a chunk out of their day to help me, and it could even be a few days, to help me out, to put their full effort in, and to produce some amazing work, it is an absolute no-brainer. Because that's the least I can give you for, you know, offering your time to me to help me in a situation. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, definitely.
You know, whether you were going to ask for money or not, I was always there, you know, ready to give you money.
Yeah, I mean, I hate those situations. It's really awkward. Like, I think that's probably when I'm the most uncomfortable. It's like, yeah,
I'm the same. And it's like, you know, I've had friends that have borrowed money off me and stuff in the past. And I'm in the same position. Like, say if...
You can have it, like I'm not going to ask.
This is a complete different topic. This is different matter. But it's like, if somebody, you know, I've borrowed money to hasn't paid me back or something, I feel really awkward about asking for it back. Like,
I feel really half the time I just haven't even asked for it back. I've just been like, okay, safe. Like,
yeah. Unless it's like a big chunk of money, it's kind of like
yeah. I mean, if it's a lot, then of course.
Yeah, if it's like a tenner, I don't really care. It's like, cool, just keep it. You know, it's not worth it. But if it's more like, you know, £100 or something, that's when it's kind of like, yeah, I can have it.
Of course, I think there's a difference between of course borrowing and just someone doing a favor.
Yeah.
Like, you know, if someone just buys you like a meal, then like you should pay them back.
Yeah. Definitely.
But like if I like bought you a meal,
yeah,
and like I personally like everyone has the right to like expect the money back, but like, I'd find it really awkward to like, why are you giving me money back? I just like, you know, it's a favor.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, yeah, there's different contexts, right? But yeah, I agree, definitely.
There's definitely like different morals in it and all. But going from YouTube channel art to YouTube channel, so I know that you got a YouTube channel. It'll be in the link down below. How's that? I know that you did a couple of videos. I know you did one which was talking about what kind of books to read over quarantine. What's your inspiration behind your YouTube channel? Because I know that you've posted quite a bit of different content on there. So you've gone from, you know, you've posted a bit about GCSE art or A-level art. I know we did that little abandoned building back in the day. I remember.
But now for good reason. Yeah.
You had like A-level videos. You know, you've got like videos on what books to read and stuff like that. Like, what kind of inspired you to do that? What's the view behind it?
Bro, to be honest, like I wouldn't say I have a YouTube channel like personally, because like to me it's not really like there's not really a direction behind it, as I'm sure like you just demonstrated and I'm sure you've seen yourself. Like it's really, to be fair, I was watching another one of your episodes with the bro who does photography. I forgot his name.
Leandro, yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yes. And I think he mentioned a similar thing where he said like he just has, it's just a way of outputting like things that he's interested in like creating. You know, and like it's just like, I want to make this, and like boom, it's on YouTube because like maybe someone else will find it interesting. So like it's like, I feel cringy to say like it's a YouTube channel. It's just like a place where I just put things that are like I was interested in making, so I made them. And sometimes they benefit people. So I made a video last year about Ramadan at the University of Bath, and I'm sure you know Bath, kind of, and it's a very southwest city. So if you're a Muslim student and you're going to Bath University, like you'll think, wait, is there a space for me? Like, am I welcome, etc. Since I posted that, like the amount of people that have like messaged me or like bumped into me on campus that like I've never met before, and they'd be like, yo, I recognize you from that video. And like I was interested in coming to uni and I didn't know whether I'd be welcome here as a Muslim, but I searched like Muslim Bath University on YouTube and I saw your video and it really helped me make my decision and stuff. You know, that makes you appreciate that kind of like there's a benefit in putting stuff out there, even if it's just, you know.
I think if you didn't put that video out there, they may not have gone to Bath University.
Yeah, and you know, I'm sure it's not that to that extent for that video, but you know, it's good that, so it's a mix. Like, it's a very personal thing, which is very clear from the lack of direction or any kind of cohesion. But then again, like there's benefit of putting it out there, and that's why like the book video that you mentioned, that was just a pure like I was trying out that new format and seeing like if I could do that kind of talk into a camera thing. Which I think I've kind of learned to do all right now. Because back in the day, I mean, I'm sure you know yourself, like, it feels weird, bro. So I thought it's quarantine, you know, may as well, like, don't take yourself too seriously, let's do it. Like, a lot of people take themselves seriously and don't, I feel too awkward to do things like this. I mean, they'll do it, but they'll never put it on the internet, right? They'll do it, but it's like on a hard drive, which is fine. But yeah, I mean, I don't really take myself too seriously. So like, I'll have my finger in lots of different pots and I'll try different things. But none of them are too polished or serious. It's just a bit of fun, you know?
Yeah, I was going to say, because I mean, differently to what I do on YouTube, it's kind of like, you know, I've got like a very regimented upload thing. It's like,
it's very like,
Monday, 7 p.m.
Very focused.
Be there. Whereas you, it's kind of like, you just upload stuff when you've made a video that you think's insightful. You know, it could be 2 years down the line, it could be a month down the line. It's kind of just as and when, really, with you. And I suppose that kind of now makes more sense in what you say. It's not really a YouTube channel, it's more just a place where you can share what you're kind of doing.
Exactly.
But I don't know whether you were expecting this question. So I know this was a very big throwback.
Oh damn! Okay.
Do you remember me and you with the rap battles?
Oh no! Oh, brilliant. Okay, this is where he's going, huh? Bro, I was going to mention that. I think that came to mind like earlier on when you mentioned. Yeah, you mentioned. No, I don't know. I don't remember. But yeah. Brilliant.
What a throwback.
That was a weird time, bro. That was a weird time, wasn't it?
I know. Like literally just before the mock exams. I don't know how it came about.
I think it was we were having a bit of fun like in the like on Oak playground. And I think the whole year was like there for some reason, and there was some kind of joke rap battle going on. And I think I got pushed into the center, and I don't know if there was someone else there. And then I think you got pushed into the center, and then we ended up having a bit of banter. And then from that,
it went to YouTube. Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, because I think those videos actually got like not the views were alright.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all privated on that channel. I mean, I haven't touched that
thank
channel.
God they are.
I ain't touched that channel in a very long time. Yeah. I mean, they're kind of videos that I would release if I hit like 1,000 subscribers or something, you know. That's kind of thing.
That'd be really funny. Yeah.
You know, react to them.
Good throwback.
But you know, I remember the one. It was called Chancy Rhythm or something like that. I remember that got.
Let's not talk about that.
It hit about 1,000 views. I was like, oh my lord! But
I'm so sorry, bro. I don't know what was going on.
It was such a strange time.
Such a strange,
You
strange
guys,
time,
you
bro.
guys will definitely learn more about that as I climb in subscribers. I keep all the sort of rapping on the low kind of thing with that kind of sense, because it's kind of like,
Let's see what you come up with in the future. Who knows?
yeah, that's it. I would never rule it out, I suppose. I mean, rap beef with you, that's ruled out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not involved.
Yeah, I'm me. I'm
Maybe you
gone.
get a few of the other guys from TG, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Right. Okay. So
Brilliant. That was a good throwback, man.
definitely. Okay. So in regards to your
What have you got in your pocket now?
Instagram page, in regards to your Instagram page, then. Now, I see on your Instagram page you post a lot of intellectual things on Instagram. You've changed your Instagram. Yeah, so you changed your Instagram very much from being, the normal photos of me kind of person to, like, how, like, the average Instagrammer is. And now you post a lot about, like, the community. You post a lot of quotes and a lot of inspiring and intelligible words. What kind of has pushed you onto posting that kind of content on Instagram?
First of all, I appreciate that. I'm glad that there's some sort of benefit in it.
Yeah,
I guess
definitely is, yeah.
perceived benefit. Because again, like I said, I don't really take myself too seriously. Really not. But I'm glad that there's something, I guess. Bro, again, it's just you mentioned me, which is quite funny because I'd say this version is more me, because instead of like the typical kind of image people try to create, it's more like, again, it's just a place where I just put whatever the hell I want. And I mean, I'm sure, I don't know what's on my feed, but like if I take a scroll, it'll be the most random thing. But the challenge that like I give myself is kind of to make it like slightly kind of, there has to be a level of quality there. And maybe some sort of benefit, like kind of, because you'll hear a lot of people online, they'll be like, oh, if you don't know what I'm doing, just get off my page, etc., etc. But like if you've got like a following of even 10 people, then those 10 people, like you said, they're taking time out of their day to like look at your content. And it's something that we don't really value in the modern world, that like, because we consume so much from so many people, we don't really value that, even if someone's spending 5 seconds looking at your content, like that's affecting their day. Like those 5 seconds that you have, you could actually like benefit. I'm not saying I do at all, but I'm just saying like it's a different way of thinking of kind of how we interact online. And yeah, man, like I don't really take myself too seriously. I just post whatever I want, and it's a day-to-day thing. Like, so Instagram's like an image-based platform, of course. So like if I something random that I've noticed and I think it looks quite cool or interesting, post. That's kind of what I do. I don't really have. There's not really a structure behind it, as it's probably clear from it. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the quotes and stuff, again, I think that's definitely more like just things that I find value in myself, things that I've read and thought, okay, that's really like, I think that could benefit people, and boom, share. Because it's kind of selfish to keep stuff to yourself, right?
Yeah,
to keep stuff to yourself. Yeah, brilliant.
I was going to say, because I've seen like a few posts like talking about like history and things like that, and I've picked up a couple of things from you as well, which is really cool, because like I'll be just scrolling through Instagram, and like in a way it is a good point, because I'll be scrolling through Instagram sometimes and I'll see that you put a post up, and obviously I see your name, so it's like, oh cool, I'll have a look, and then I'll see something quite intellectual on there. Sometimes it actually does give me as well, like I'll read it, but after I finish reading it, I think it kind of gives me that sort of kick to go, right, okay, this is what you're supposed to be doing. You're supposed to be learning things. So get your ass off Instagram and get hustling again. That's kind of what your posts also give me. It gives me not only like some intellect, but also it gives me the sort of motivation to get me off Instagram to sort of, learn different things myself. One of the times I was reading something you posted. I think it was about the Romans. You posted something something about the Romans.
The fall of the Roman Empire?
Yes.
I think that's what it was called. Yeah, sure.
That was it. I actually I actually read your post, and it gave me a little bit of an incentive to go off Instagram, go into my room, go onto the TV and watch a documentary about it.
Oh damn! Wow. What was the documentary like?
It was really good. It was really insightful.
About the Romans, or?
Yeah, about the downfall of the empire. And I just thought, wow. I've literally just clicked on this guy's Instagram.
Yeah.
I've just read a caption about this, and all of a sudden I'm here watching a full-on documentary about it, and I've learned some new things. It's like, I don't know whether you realise that kind of, you had that kind of impact on people.
No, not at all. No,
with me anyway, you definitely do. I don't know what your other followers get out of it, but with me, that's the kind of thing I get out of it. If you post something very interesting, I'll actually do some research about it, because you think, cool, it's something else to learn. You know, every day's a school day, isn't it? That's how I look at it.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that, like, you mentioned that it's something that's so small that caused you to do something that, like, was quite a lot of your time, right? But what I found interesting in what you said was kind of like everything that you consume is like influencing you in some way.
Yeah.
But it's just that, like, say there's different categories of influence, right? And like 90% of the posts fall under the same category of influence, and it's usually making yourself feel bad about yourself and wanting to be a different image. And then, but the thing is, there's like hundreds of categories, because like human civilization is massive, right? And you don't have like, and one of those categories is perhaps, for example, history, right?
Yeah.
And because you never see something like that, the smallest mention can, like, it can be like, wait, what? Like,
yeah,
I didn't know, you know, because of pure lack of, you know. So I think that's what's, yeah, I think maybe that's where there's a tiny benefit. But again, like, it's just, on my part, all I'm doing is just sharing things that already exist. It's not like I've done anything. It's just, I'm just putting them, I'm kind of, it's a retweet, you know, it's just sharing stuff along.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's the smallest thing. Yeah, it's something that I found benefit in, so I thought I could share. So appreciate that, man. Yeah, definitely.
Amazing.
I found that quite interesting that you mentioned kind of small, yeah.
The impact it's had on me, yeah. So I'll finish off on these little things then. So for the rest of 2020, you know, coronavirus is kind of, you know, starting to calm down as such. What are your plans for the rest of it? Have you got anything planned?
So first of all, I need to complete my coursework. So we're doing like an alternative assignment because the placement kind of fell through. Excuse me. So that's due in like August. So, yeah, a while. It's quite late for a university deadline. University starts in October. That's the plan, at least for now. So that's what will happen. But in between, I'm hoping to get like a sort of placement or some sort of work experience done, a couple of weeks, because I think I'd hate to go into third year and not have the experience that's kind of expected. Like, I know this situation kind of called for it, and bro, like, there's a lot of what's called grievance culture, like in the modern world, that like you become a victim like as soon as you can, and like you start complaining, and it's very popular, and a lot of the time it's completely valid. That's the thing, like, it's valid, but like it's good, like, because you need to like raise awareness of certain ills in society, but on a personal level you're not benefiting yourself.
Yeah.
Right, you're not benefiting yourself. So like on a personal level you still need to move. So like, yes, coronavirus is here, and like I haven't, like, it's been difficult in getting a job, and I could just say that and say, okay, I'm going to go to those without that experience, but like I've still got 2 months and I can try it, you know. There's a possibility there, and why not? So that's immediate. After that, university, hopefully, and that's the thing about a degree. It's kind of all you do, isn't it? So yeah, that's all it will be from then until like next year.
But it is interesting because, you know, as much as there is coronavirus, and like you said, there's things that are valid behind, you know, why people can't do things and stuff.
Completely valid, yeah.
There's still, you know, on the flip side, it's kind of like what you've proved, is that we still have 24 hours in our day. And, you know, as much as you might not be at uni and stuff, it still gives you time to scope out, you know, where you, different workplaces and things like that.
Exactly. But on a social level, like in terms of like many people in a group, it's important to raise awareness of like issues and like difficulties between people. But on a personal level, it's important to further yourself. Like you should have your best interest at heart, and on a personal level, complaining isn't going to get you anywhere. But on a social level, it is. So you have to have both, right? You have to have both. It can't just be one or the other. So the people who say don't complain, just work hard, are wrong as well. But the people who say, you know, it's not your fault because all of these things have happened to you, they're wrong as well. It's like there has to be a kind of combination there.
Yeah, very true. Very true. So I'll finish off on this question because I know I've asked this to every single person, but is there anything you're looking at experiencing, like a bucket list kind of experience that you're looking at doing? Is there anything on your mind, like bucket list wise?
Is this the 5 things thing that you're talking about, or I think I heard that in the other?
Oh yes,
and
I've got that. You know what? I completely forgot about that one as well. I'll ask you that straight after.
Oh, so it's 2 questions, or?
Yeah, we'll answer the first one first. It's a good job you said actually. I completely. It's because we were talking about about this board and stuff like that. I just completely threw me off.
Yeah. But I want to ask you so many questions about that board, but I guess we're a very short one. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. So about your bucket list then, is there anything like on mind?
Do you want me to be honest?
Yeah, go for it.
Not really, no. I don't really like. I'm not personally like. I don't really like have like. I have to do this and I have to get this. Like, I'm someone who just tends to take things as they come, and like whatever's like in reach, I kind of worry about, because with a bucket list, it's like it's not like in your control immediately. So like,
yeah, true.
It's like cool if it happens, but as a kind of faraway goal. But like at the moment, like I'm quite chill. Like
you take.
There's nothing that I think of like.
Day by day.
Yeah, exactly. Like in terms of like things in the long term that I want to achieve are things that I can like work towards, which is like, you know, architecture, etc.
Yeah.
But yeah, sorry, bro, that's such a boring answer. But I mean, I have to be honest, isn't it?
Well, you got to be honest. I mean, like, there's no point. Sorry. There's no point saying just an answer just to impress people or whatever. You know, this.
Well, what's your answer?
My answer.
Don't give me a boring answer.
Okay.
I've already given them.
So, I mean, my answer is traveling the whole world. That's definitely an experience I want to do.
What's the whole world? Like every country, or?
Not. I wouldn't say every single country. I'd love to go to Thailand, Malaysia. I'd love to go that kind of side of the world, like the Asia, like that kind of area in the world. I'd love to do a thing where I'll go to all of the states in America as well. That'd be really cool. Other things like that, really, it's just I think the other things, they're not really bucket list things, but it's just more long-term goals. So obviously becoming an entrepreneur, having a property portfolio, and being able to, you know, have my own income coming into me without having to do a 9 to 5, but having other adventures out there.
Passive means.
Sure. Exactly. And I know that's not really much bucket list, but that's kind of more like long-term goals that are going to...
Yeah, it's a sensible bucket list, isn't it?
Yeah, and then I suppose they're the things that are going to help me achieve the things that I do want to do in life. So I suppose, yeah, again, a bit of a boring ass answer, but again, you know, it's true.
Yeah, it is what it is, isn't it?
I'll ask you this question because I forgot. 5 things you can't live without.
Can't live without. Number 1 is the Quran, which is the scripture for Muslims.
Yeah.
So it's God's word for Muslims. Number 2, I'm not it's not helping if I just look around. A notebook and a good set of pens. Is that 2 things or 1 thing?
I'll count that as 1.
Okay, cool. A notebook and a good set of pens. You know, like thinking's fine, but like if you don't record it, then there's no point.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, so there's so much benefit to just a book full of ideas. So a notebook and a set of pens. A really good book. Really good book.
So 2 more.
2 more, yeah. I want to say the cliche answer, like a phone. Is that hard? Okay, a phone because of the camera,
Yeah.
primarily. And a fifth answer as well, yeah? Should I just be really cliche and say laptop?
Go for it, man.
Basically done. That's basically all I chill with anyway, you know? So,
There you go.
yeah, okay. To be fair, mate, that was very generous. 5 things.
But yeah, what were you going to ask me as well about the board?
I was going to ask you which books you've got now.
Which books?
On the need to read. Yeah.
So the books I've got right now, I've got one which I'm currently reading called Rich Dad Poor Dad. I don't know whether you've heard of that book.
Yeah, I read a part of it. I need to finish it.
Very, very good, insightful book. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone.
Okay.
So another, I haven't read it yet, but I really want to read that. I've been
What's it about?
I've been recommended that book by a massive group of people. Sell or Be Sold, another book by Grant Cardone. It's one sort of talking about how you're going to sell like your business and sell your products, especially if you want to go on to like drop shipping and things like that. And then Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill,
sure.
which again is another insightful book. And you know, just like Rich Dad Poor Dad, very good for the your insight on the difference of being rich and not being rich. But I've got a few others, but they're like, I've kind of got like a list, so as soon as I finish Rich Dad Poor Dad, I'll chalk that off and I'll write a new book at the bottom, then I'll just keep going like that. Certainly
might be a good shout to get a Goodreads account. I don't know if you've heard of it, but basically it just gives you like, you can put all the books you want to read in one place. So I think on my Goodreads account, like I've got 160 books that I need to, like I want to. So the thing is, like, imagine if I had to write down like in my phone 160 different books with the authors, like it's long. There you just search, boom, click a button, and it's done.
Yeah.
And you can also do a few other bits. So maybe that's a good show. That'd be pretty cool.
How often do you read?
Before quarantine or after quarantine?
Both.
That's it. Sure. Before quarantine. Before, because it was university and full time, probably less than half an hour a day.
Right.
To be honest, less than, like much less than usually, especially deadline weeks. After, on a good day, bro. The thing is, so in quarantine, like I'm trying really hard to wake up like really early.
Yeah.
Not like really early and try to sleep late. No, I try to sleep early.
Yeah.
Who's gonna do that? It's some kind of superhuman. And I try to fit in the reading in the morning because like your mind in the morning is so like fast. It's crazy. Like try to read a book before you sleep and try to read a book straight after you wake up. It's a completely different experience, bro. So if I wake up on a good day, maybe like up to 2 hours. On a bad day. On a bad day, nothing, of course. But on like a reasonable day, maybe like half an hour to an hour. Yeah. What about you?
It's been pretty much the same. I'll read the same, but it was different time schedules. So obviously before.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm sure your schedule's still been the same, really, because the work's been kind of constant, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of been a bit different because rather than having like a full day at it, like focusing on the schedule, it's more work's took up a big chunk of it, and then it's like filtering in the other things. But in regards to it, I'd say before quarantine, I was reading. I'd do like a little thing, a bit like how I revise. I'd do like 15-minute intervals, and I'd do like 3 of them a day. But now, because I can actually get really like deep into a book, I can. It's kind of it's a bit different. Sometimes I can sit there for an hour. Sometimes I might sit there for 25 minutes. It just depends really. But I always aim to at least read something every day. An interesting question I had for you, because I've recently gone over to audiobooks. Is there a difference between reading a book handheld and an audiobook?
A difference kind of like in terms of how you take in the information?
Yeah.
Or, there's definitely a difference. And I can only speak from personal experience, but when you're reading an audiobook, you're usually doing something else, right?
Yeah. So it's like,
sure.
Usually I like drive to work or drive home from work or something.
Yeah. I think if you're reading, there's two types of reading. You can be reading for like pure enjoyment, which is usually for most people fiction, right?
Yeah.
And I think most people can hack a fiction audiobook because it's kind of passive. But if you're reading for information, it depends on how your mind works as well. Some people like learn visually, and a lot of like non-fiction books, like self-help books, like you mentioned, their pages are set out quite like nicely and stuff. And it might be quite hard to deal with that in an audiobook, but again, it's personal preference, right? Because I think what's becoming more and more known in like scientifically today is that like the human mind is not very good at multitasking.
Yeah.
Especially if they're like heavy tasks, right? Like reading, especially if you're reading like a book of value, like a proper value, like you've got behind you. I'm like, it's excellent to read that like when you're driving or something. Driving is like a minor thing or something like that, but it's so much more valuable to read it like in person. And just that relationship between your eyes and the words, like I don't know, there's something there that like kind of the words kind of hits your brain in a different way.
Yeah.
It's much more active. It's not a passive thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's your experience been like?
Because I've been reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, but it's been audiobook.
And do you write in your books or?
What's that? Sorry.
Not really. Do you write in your books or?
Do I write in them?
Sorry. Yeah.
I don't.
If you're sure.
I don't. The only thing I do use is a bookmark, but I know some people actually highlight bits of their books, like say if it's something very insightful.
Or you could argue with the author, like something you disagree with or something. Yeah. On the flip side.
Is that what you do? Is it?
Sure. Yeah, if it's a non-fiction, yeah, I think it'd be weird to kind of do that with the fiction, but maybe there's a nice quote or something.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, because I think I like to, especially if I'm flicking through a book that I've already read and need to find something. It's quite easy to just see what I found interesting.
Yeah,
just like, you know.
But yeah, like I was saying about the audiobooks, I listened to Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins, and then obviously I'm listening to Rich Dad Poor Dad. But I found that when I was reading books in front of me, I found that I was taking in the information a lot more direct. Because say if you're driving or something, you're not always listening to everything that's being said.
Yeah.
So in a way, I'm kind of thinking of diverting away from audiobooks. I'm actually thinking about buying Rich Dad Poor Dad as a book and just buying it because I actually value more time to actually sit down and read a book rather than do it while I'm driving, because I don't feel like I'll take it in as much.
Bro, you've got meditate on your board, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that is making time in your day to read is a form of meditation because you can't read without taking everything out of your mind first. Exactly. You can't read when you're worrying about 100 things.
Very true.
Yeah,
I mean, meditation, I like to have it separate as well.
Definitely.
So what I'll do, I'll put on some headphones or something, and I'll go on YouTube and literally just YouTube like, depending on what kind of time frame I've got, maybe 10 minutes or half hour guided meditation. There's some really good spots. I mean, living in the middle of the countryside, there's so many beautiful spots you can go to.
I imagine,
loads of like really nice rivers and stuff like that you can sit by, and even like the back garden. So I like to, go outside, connect with the outside world, if you like, and then just zone in and just have that time to just close my eyes and actually just focus on my breathing and just reflect. I mean, yes, you are right. Reading is a form of meditation. You're completely right there.
It's not the same thing, though, is it?
But I feel like having an actual time to close your eyes and just, just listen to your body, in essence, is just a completely different version of meditation. I think it's a lot more helpful. And then obviously I like to read as well because yes, it is another form of meditation, but it's, that's more like...
You can't replace it.
I kind of associate reading as learning more than I do meditation. So I like to have
especially with the self-help books, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah. In regards to that then, that is the end of another episode of the T-Chats podcast. Again, thank you very much to Abdullah for coming on today. I'll make sure I'll leave his social medias down below. They are very insightful, especially his Instagram page, so make sure you go and follow that. It's been a pleasure to have you on, bro. And a pleasure to touch bases I mean, I haven't seen you for coming up to 4 years now. So
This is organic. This is like literally first time after 4 years. Yeah.
If you ever want to come back on the podcast, you're more than welcome. We can talk about different topics. If you guys want to see him back as well, make sure you leave a like on the video. He'll be coming back anyway. I mean, regardless, because you know, I'll throw him on whether you want it or not.
Going back.
But thank you very much, bro. Honestly, it's been great to talk to you again as well, man. And you know,
a lot.
And me. But yeah, thank you guys. Make sure you keep following the podcast on YouTube, because it will be coming on Apple Podcasts very soon. It will be coming on Spotify very soon. So make sure you stay tuned so you can listen to that wherever you are and whatever you're doing. See you guys. Peace.